Gentlemen, to game 3 of the night, and what a game it's going to be. LMQ, Tianzi, iBUYPOWER take on Curse Academy. We just got done seeing one Curse team play in LOL Pro. They won their match. Can Curse Academy do the same and be the only other team to take a game off of LMQ other than LOL Pro?
And of course, LMQ, they themselves just won the North American Challenger Series, taking first place of the first event. I believe they won $6,000 for that, but they really dominated the entire time. Like you said, there was one team to take a game off them, and that is just the position they're in. Everyone thinks they're great, everyone thinks they're amazing, and everybody is practicing to try and take these guys down because, I mean, when there's a big dog in town, all the little dogs have to try and gang up on them.
And if I had to pick a dog to do it, it would be this Curse Academy roster. And you might notice some changes on the team. It's Rux in the top lane, Pateau in the jungle. Now, Pateau is Titores, if you guys have been watching Curse Academy for a while. So he's been on there just with a little bit of a different name. Duosec is their new mid laner. And after trying out a lot of guys, I gotta say, Duosec is really impressing me. We got to see it over the weekend in the NACL tournament, but now coming back as their mid lane roster here with Don't Mash Me and Haima Sheep in the bottom lane. Won't have Fabi there to keep their gates open, but Don't Mash Me, a great addition to the team.
I mean, he's got that history. He was on Coast. He was in a lot of Season 2 tournaments. He's been a dominant, strong AD carry for such a long time, and it's kind of cool to see him still staying relevant, staying with the strong team, making sure he is still in that League of Legends pro scene. Now, we've got the first bans coming out. Thresh, Fiddlesticks, Yasuo being banned out by LMQ, with Curse Academy banning out Kassadin, Elise, and Gragas. Pretty standard bans all around. That Fiddlesticks, of course, a little bit more specific, but Curse has actually always kind of used a little bit of some Fiddlesticks plans even last season.
Yeah, that's right. Fiddlesticks, kind of interesting to see that banned out against Haima Sheep, but could also be going over to Titores in the jungle. I haven't quite seen a wave of Fiddlesticks come back into competitive play just yet, but that's my hidden OP champion. I'm waiting to see the jungle Fiddlesticks.
They sneak in. Every now and then you'll see him pop in for a game, and when it works incredibly well. Like the massive AoE, the, I believe, 2.5 or 2.75 second fear, which is such a good CC. It's no damage, damageless CC, but it's still amazing. Renekton going to be that first safe pick for LMQ. He's a lane winner. He's reliable. He's that rock that loses to very few champions. And even if he does lose, he tends to at least get a lot of farm or come out relevant.
Now, this is already a signal that LMQ are not doing their standard strategy. The usual thing that you see out of LMQ is they'll stick Dr. Mundo on Ackerman up in that top lane and just have him even just lose lane. He'll never get a gank. He'll never get any help. He'll just sit up there for as long as humanly possible and then just teleport down to fights. Because what that does for LMQ is it removes half of the map from the factor, and that lets them put all their focus on snowballing their mid, snowballing their bottom lane, because, hey, a tank is a tank to some extent. And this time, giving him Renekton, they're expecting him to make a few more aggressive plays and be more of a big factor in that early to mid game where Renekton is so strong.
Now, I feel really safe calling this, but I'm pretty sure that's a Lulu mid lane. Don't ask me why, but the Leona pick giving me a fair indication of that. And Lulu mid lane is getting more and more popular by the day, by the hour even. Just a strong, also once again safe mid laner. She can deal with the assassins because of her shield and wild growth, both of which are not affected by ignite because it's a shield, and raw given HP, which really make it effective versus LeBlanc, who needs that little extra tick of damage.
But the lock-in for the mid lane pick, like you just were talking about, AP Lulu, well, it's going up against an AP Nidalee. And this is a matchup we just got done seeing, although this time around, I think they're going to kick it up a notch. Yeah,
it's a fun matchup. Definitely has some variable results. It always has that possibility of just becoming a farm fest where Lulu clears with Glitter Lance, then Nidalee hops on the creep wave with some pounce and just swipes it all away. But there's always that possibility of spears going down, and alright, so Lulu can defend against burst. What about sustained harass? What about those sustained spears coming at you? Those aren't quite as, like those long cooldowns like wild growth aren't quite as effective. So it all comes down to play, it all comes down to skill, whether you can land spears, whether you can land glitter lances, and use that crazy auto attack harass that Lulu does provide.
And two things to notice. If you're new to LMQ, they are a Chinese team that's come over to North America to compete in the NA Challenger scene on their road to LCS. And they've been pretty much just taking names and putting notches in the bottom of their gun, if that's an applicable metaphor. Looking undefeated against, like I said, the only team to take a game off of them in a best-of-3 was LOL Pro, who went 1-2 against them in, let's see, it was the Razer League of Legends Bash. So it's kind of interesting to me to see the strategies that they run not really change and then still pick up game after game. And with the Vi locked in for no name, it's still just perfect setups for those lane ganks. people say, well, why does Vi just have that click ultimate? It's kind of like Malphite, but without the area of effect. Well, it's because that's the big thing that she does. Whereas if you look over to the jungle choice on Curse Academy, they've got Pantheon, who, while he can't just click on someone, has huge engage range and could really be an anchor to build this team comp around for Curse A.
And this is a very cool team comp from Curse Academy. It's all about the rush down. Like, think about what Leona, Sivir, Pantheon all provide. The ability to charge down onto one person. Lulu can make other champions do that, and has a follow-up of both picks as a shield to get the Glitter Lance from far distances, and Wild Growth for that extra bit of CC. So this is a team that's focused on getting very early ganks early on with the help of Pantheon, and once he hits level 6, once Lulu has Wild Growth, mid lane becomes gankable. Bot lane will also be a very easy gank if there's some backup from Leona. There's a lot of chain CC, a lot of early game burst. This team comp is not team comp you want to see 40, 50 minutes in the game if they're not far ahead, because, well, Pantheon does kind of fall off. Leona will have some trouble being quite as effective. Same thing with Lulu. So this team, it does need a late game champion like that Shyvana.
All right, well, there's the Shyvana being hovered over, but while we're talking about the big move speed, the big hard engage from very long range from Curse Academy, the lock-in on Alistar is so cool because not only is Alistar starting to come back just a little bit, it's starting to come back for more in a very, very big way. And if you've been watching any of LMQ's more recent games, you know that Moore has been a pretty big part of those, and his Alistar coming back is going to offer just so much, not only for that lane matchup, but also once we start to get to big dragon fights and global objectives, which LMQ may not necessarily use to take them down, but more to just bait fights that they are so good at fighting.
Yeah, the Alistar that's a cool pick just because that denial. You have a rushdown team that this is one of the few champions that can very easily and reliably say, just no, you champion that are rushing at me, go away. We're going to take a quick break for a second and just kind of relax as we both cool off. Yeah. And Alistar provides that. He also has something very fun in lane versus Sivir, which is Sivir cannot spell shield and avoid a stun if you use the headbutt pulverize combo. Because if you spell shield the headbutt, pulverize. Yeah, you're right next to her. It's very convenient, actually.
We got a chance to see Nintendo X's Vi stop the Dragon's Descent from Inox in LCS over the weekend, but now we get a chance to see more as Alistar just headbutt rocks out of the air, maybe stop those man drops from Pateau from being so effective. He drops down and just gets headbutted right away. So really like the Alistar choice. It's a really tanky support there right when you need it, not like Leona when it's a little bit more reoccurring. So we've got a lot of tankiness in the bottom lane, a lot of just heavy gank ability, and overall just incredible aggression. And in a game between LMQ and Curse Academy, I wouldn't have it any other way. This is going to be absolutely spectacular. And we're going to have to wait to get into the game before we see exactly how it unfolds, and hope you guys will stick around for us. But in the meantime, we're going to take a little bit of a break to remind you about our sponsors. They are, of course, Loot Crate, which you can see right down below for $13.37 a month. You get a crate of loot filled with all kinds of awesome stuff that you can check out by visiting their website at lootcrate.com.
We also have Phoenix Peripherals, who are peripherals, who make fine, headsets, mouses, just great electronic accessories, fine purveyors. You should go ahead and check them out. We also have their link down below, so go ahead, check that out. And we'll be back after the champions load in, after the teams are done setting up their stuff, with LMQ going up against Curse Academy.
Hey ho, on the road again, moving on forward. Sticking stones won't break bones. We're in the car on a highway. It's only magical feeling that no one's got a hold. You're a catalyst to your own happiness, you know. It's
trouble. So we'll see if they do go for that hard engage. This is a very tough time in the bottom lane matchup for Sivir, just because she can't really attack quite often enough with her Boomerang Blade due to mana issues, and the auto attack harass is just going to go so well in favor of Caitlyn that she just has to push incredibly hard.
We talked about top lane, how Ackerman for LMQ loses out a little bit early on, and Shyvana kind of came about as a top lane champion as someone to counter Renekton. Mid lane matchup is a little bit more interesting because it's Duosec, a new mid laner for Curse Academy, who is just extremely, extremely good. There's actually the flash, the stun on to Zhao Wei Zhao. We got the red proc down, red buff, and there's the spear critting him down. First blood at maximum range there. Perfect Pantheon combo from Bateau.
And holding on to that last spear, I love that because you do get the damage enhancement from the Heartseeker Strike crit on his skills as well, so it just sets up that reliable burst at the very end, tail end of that kill. And of course, Flash is blown. Barrier is blown as well on Wei Zhao. That leaves Flash and Ignite, Flash and Smite available for both Bateau and Duosec. Nearly not only lost in the kill, but also lost for Summoners as well, which means she's going to be more susceptible until she hits level 6.
Now going down to the bottom lane, Hive Mashif in a little bit of trouble. Vasily, though, going to pop that barrier, does get ignited. The Pulverize perfectly timed, but in from behind, Bateau right where he needs to be. And now Moore's going to go for the flash over that wall. Sheep's going to follow him, gets that stun, gets headbutted right away in front of him, but looking for that flash from Bateau. Doesn't have it because he used it mid. And that's actually going to be more escaping. No, Lulu coming around from the side. Can Duosec. He's going to flash in for that one. Has the ignite, but is this going to be what he needs? The blue buff on Bateau gives him the reset just in time. Is this what he needs? The glitter lance at long range lands. And Bateau with another max range spear gives Curse Academy their third kill of the game.
Wei Zhao, we're worried you that heal might have been enough to get him out of that fight. Unfortunately, Moore will be going down without the help of his mid laner. So 3 kill advantage, 1.2k gold in favor of Curse Academy. This is a fantastic start. And with their early rushdown team, with their early game presence, which is going to get even stronger once Lulu gets her ultimate, Sivir gets her ultimate, and the rushdown becomes amazing, Curse Academy is set up. Top lane, you can see kind of the wet noodle fight going on. Ruck's very low on HP, so is Ackerman. One good combo, one good ignite actually might secure a kill up in the top, but at the very moment across the lanes, this is now Curse Academy's game to control. Where will Bateau go? Where will he try and just dominate with that Pantheon aggression?
And man, that Pantheon really paying off early on. And this is something that Rockhat discovered in the European scene. They were the first people out there to really start to realize, hey, Pantheon is a really good jungler now. Crazy early aggression that some teams just aren't used to. Rux, though, going to get straight up dove there. Slice in, dice out from Ackerman. He's going to make his way out with one more kill. First kill on the board for LMQ.
Getting them some gold, actually closing that gold difference to only 400. And this is where it gets kind of scary. If we do see Ackerman kind of stay in control in the top lane, if Rux can't pressure him, which is rare for a Shyvana, but with an early gank like that and the CS being denied to him right now, that could be the case. If Ackerman can stay in control and make it so Bateau has to go up top of camp, with Dominus actually engagement in the bot lane, I'm a sheep knocked under turret.
It does have that Eclipse on, so very, very tanky. It only takes about half his health and damage. And you see Vasily and more, like we talked about in Champion Select, they're having a rough time there in that lane.
Oh, engagement onto Vasily.
Seen it again, right in to that Boomerang Blade. The spell shield runs out, immediate flash out. Oh, Mashme gets sniped down. The Piltover Pacemaker stopping his heart.
The predictive flash actually catching him on the rebound, flashing right back into place, which unfortunately was in the range of a bullet to the head. Good strategy from Vasily, shooting his opponents in the face as much as possible. It's the good aggression, and it's the fact that Sivir is just so weak versus Alistar when he's trying to go for that stun. Sivir can pressure Alistar normally, but if there's ever a full-on engagement, the spell shield is worthless. She has no defense versus Alistar compared to someone like Ezreal, someone like Caitlyn, who might be able to back out at that last second.
And while Moore is starting to bring that bottom lane back with plays like that on his Alistar, you got to look towards Curse Academy, who've been doing basically that, but all over the map. It's not just bottom lane, it's bottom, mid, top lane as well, giving a kill over to LMQ early on, but it's never the early game. Like, it doesn't matter how badly LMQ gets smashed early on, they somehow... most games, it's almost like watching old Complexity play, where they get behind early on and just claw their way back, slowly but surely, over the course of the game, because while laning may not be their strengths in a lot of areas, it is the team fights that come out when it's the first dragon, second dragon, and big Baron fights like that that really define really make these great teams, and something that LMQ do very well.
And it's like a Pokemon that has Super Berry in its inventory. You get it low, pops right back up. That level 8 Pikachu is already healed back to full HP, but luckily, you don't know if the Super Berry has been used yet by LMQ. They're coming back, but there's still a lot that Cross Academy can do. They have level 6 on Pantheon. He does have better ganks now. The surprise man drop onto anybody, backed up with Leona, backed up with Wild Growth from Lulu, can do quite a bit of good. Did Pantheon just take his own blue buff? Because I'm pretty sure he did.
And with Duosec out of mana, that's a great place to put a blue buff. So somewhat accidental. That's going to be highly unfortunate. Let's put it that way. Lulu gonna have to head back to base. Should be picking up a Chalice of Harmony, but went with a double Doran's ring instead. So interesting to see the early game focus for both mid players. Top lane, Ackerman and Rux really trading that out. And as a mid laner, anytime you're going for these very sort of mid to low health trades, it's a giant target for the junglers.
Yeah, this is going to be very unfortunate for Duosec because he just doesn't have enough mana to contribute to a gank. So Italy, who was already going to be normally safe, just
edge and a defensive item coming out, but 10, 2, and 3, you got to look to that backline, but it doesn't stop there. In order for Don't Mash Me to be in the fight, to be dealing all that damage, you got to have that big aggressive engage from Pato and Rux, which just wasn't there.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Sivir is a 500 range champion, so if the front line goes down, she goes down. And with Duosec already being taken out of the fight so quickly, there was just nothing to protect Curse Academy in the backline. Now LMQ, the fun stops here. They now have Baron buff, no more trolling. If they were ever lighthearted about this match, it's done, as this match has gotten so close. They're going to focus on trying to go for the pushes most likely. So Nidalee Spears underneath the turret, watch out for those hard initiates, but in a straight up 5v5 in lane by a turret, it's a lot more predictable, a lot more reliable, and predictable games with Nidalee is amazing. Because you can kind of control movement, you can land more spears, and you just need to land 1 or 2 to force someone to recall, go back to base, and just have that numbers advantage for a hard push.
Ooh, Frozen Heart just now completed for Moore, and that's a rough item to have, especially against for an 80 carry who's going up against them. And Don't Mash Me, very effective, but now about 20% less effective as far as individual auto attacks are concerned. So we having a little bit less of those, but man, Moore is really the no fun zone. He's the guy that pushes down all the time.
Yeah, Moore is the guy who stops all the fun initiation that you always love to do. Like Shyvana comes in Dragon Form, knock that person out. You see a stun from Pantheon, knock him away. He's not getting the follow-up. Curse Academy are on the top side of the map. LMQ responding by pushing down mid lane. They'll get to the inhibitor first. They will get a lot more done a lot sooner. Curse Academy have to recall right now.
Yeah, Curse, man, they're making their way back to base, but LMQ with the perfect counter call. They're just rushing down the mid lane. They're going to get a base turret, but how much more can they take? And it's going to be up to Moore to kind of zone this fight around LMQ. They're not actually looking to take too much. A nice slow comes in from Glitterlance. Rux is there as well. Don't Mash Me looking for the chase, but you can't really chase over Nidalee and Caitlyn traps. Just way too much of a minefield to get through. Turret's down. Inhibitor taken in that middle lane has now respawned. Curse Academy took the first inhibitor of the game, but now they're looking at losing one of their own.
Those auto attacks from Caitlyn chunking that inhibitor down will not survive for very long. They got to make something happen soon, or the inhibitor will just die passively to the auto attacks. Oh, it's gone. They had to either hard initiate into a Baron buff team or let it go. Both decisions difficult to make. In the end, letting it go, the safer option, but that map control, that pressure once again going right back towards LMQ. They can split push bot lane, eventually mid will be pressured quite a bit by super minions, and Curse Academy will have to defend against that.
Really missing that Void Staff from Duosec. Can't really get a whole lot of damage done. There's a lot of magic resistance, and it's area of effect magic resistance from that Locket of the Iron Solari. See picked up there by No Name, so really helping out the rest of his team take overall less damage. And Duosec is already a relatively low damage mid laner. Really relies on those auto attacks, which is not getting off a whole lot of those. Then him is down. LMQ gonna push bottom lane.
I mean, he does have a Lich Bane for extra auto attack damage, but unfortunately, Lich Bane is useful, but still magic damage being mitigated by that Locket. And you can actually see Alistar, if he gets hit by Glitterlance, he's healing all the damage from his heal. And he can do this because of Nidalee, because of his own yell. He will not take damage as long as he's staying in the back and not taking full burst from the enemy team.
Oh, but here's Pato. He's making the call, going in. There's the engage from Haima Sheep as well. Very, very low, but a huge knock up there from that giant growth. Ackerman, though, just sways you taking No Name, though. Going to be Low Name in the back of that fight, but Cecilia picking up the first casualty. Duosec going down. Mash Me's down as well. Sheep is down, and it's up to Pato and Rux. Can they turn this back around? It's a triple for Vasily. A quadra. He's kiting against Rux. One more auto attack's all it's going to take. Rux putting down, but it's the ace from Rux, or onto Rux. Ackerman taking it down, Ackerman rather, and Vasily denied the pentakill. The G'est of G's to this game is Curse Academy putting up a fight for 37 minutes. And to turn around right there at the very end. A great game, incredibly well played. Victory, though, for LMQ.
I mean, Curse Academy, they knew they had to make a play happen right then and there. The Pantheon ultimate, it was risky. It might not have worked out, but had they just let the inhibitor go down, had they just let the turret get tanked up by Moore, they had no chance whatsoever. We saw what was happening. Moore walk forward, tank the turret, just take turret shots, be A-okay, but heal right back up with the help of Nidalee, with the help of his yell. And they could not deal with that over on the side of Curse Academy. It was their one plan. It did not work out. Got to give mad credit to them, and mad props, though, to LMQ, who were absolutely devastating that match.
And I'm speechless. That's about what my commentary was there towards the end. It was just like, somebody's dying and LMQ is coming back, and it's awesome to watch. Incredible games to see. So if maybe you're new to NACL and you haven't caught Season 1, Season 2 is coming back, and it's looking to be better than ever. So stick around. We still have 2 more games coming your way tonight. Don't want to miss those. We'll be back after a short commercial break, so make sure to stay tuned because we'll be right back. I believe the next game coming up is Cloud9 HyperX Tempest taking on VVV. So don't miss it. We'll be right back after a short commercial break.